Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Sri Banerjee, core faculty for the College of Health Sciences and Public Policy at Walden University with a joint faculty appointment at Ross University School of Medicine. And in this video, I will be going over two main greenhouse gases which are contributing to global warming and in turn leading to climate change. And I wanted to go over some of the major contributors of carbon dioxide and methane, the two types of effects that are having. So methane, first of all, is a hydrocarbon, CH4, and it's a primary component of natural gas. So methane is also a greenhouse gas, so its presence in the atmosphere affects the Earth's temperature and climate system. Anthropogenic emission sources include landfills, oil and natural gas systems, agricultural activities, coal mining, stationary and mobile combustion, wastewater treatment, and certain industrial processes. So this is a very potent occupational hazard as well. But globally, methane contributes is quite an offender when it comes to climate change. So an important fact to note, and this is substantial, is that the ability to trap by methane all of the heat is way more than in carbon dioxide. So you can't, carbon dioxide doesn't really contribute as much to the global warming. Actually, the number of times happens to be 25 times as potent as carbon dioxide. So over the last 2 centuries, methane concentrations in the atmosphere have more than doubled. And this is largely, unfortunately, due to the human-related activities. And I've already been over some of them, but short-lived compared to carbon dioxide. Achieving significant reductions would have a rapid and significant effect on the atmospheric warming potential. So out of all of this, one message is coming out is that methane is probably the biggest offender, even though it's second most common aside from carbon dioxide. Methane is probably a further offender for affecting climate change and global warming. There's some additional resources that the EPA provides. They go into which countries are the biggest methane emitter, and what just jumps out is after China, it's the United States. So we need to be doing more. And methane emissions from human activities in the United States, that's actually a whole separate link to another place where it shows you all of the different methane emissions. So here there is, and you can see in this, I like this pie chart because it breaks it down, 17% landfills, 27% enteric fermentation, but 32% natural gas and petroleum systems. So having reform and trying to mitigate these, and coal mining also mitigates some of that. Manure management, of course, that's 9%, then other 9%. So the biggest things that I see is natural gas and petroleum systems, and then of course putting fecal matter within the fields causes enteric fermentation, and you can get it from that. So, but some of these are controllable by a lot of these are controllable by human events and human emission mitigation. So this goes into more details than you might be caring for. But the methane emissions have gradually slightly gone down, but there's a lot of work to be done here. So this is pretty extensive, and then you can go into go back and then look into other types of things, facts about methane. So what's the takeaway from methane emissions? That despite multiple benefits, methane recovery is not widespread for several reasons. One, methane is generally a secondary byproduct in the industrial processes from which it is emitted. So, for instance, let me give you an example here. So, coal mines seek to vent methane from the mine workings because it can cause explosions. Historically, mining companies have not viewed the associated methane as an energy source in its own right. So the coal mines seek to vent methane from the mine workings. But from that, they're not necessarily knowing and understanding that the methane is leading to something else. Those responsible for the emissions may not be familiar with the technologies available for methane recovery or the potential for profitable recovery projects. So this, especially this is true in developing countries where improved access to information and technical training would be beneficial to generating support for methane recovery projects. So wherever there's methane, they just maintain there. Even though there are technologies available for mitigation of emissions. So up to date, the developing countries need to also be able to afford these mitigation. And then poorly functioning energy markets and financially insolvent utilities and municipalities within many countries fail to provide the private sector with the climate that will attract their investment in projects to capture and utilize methane. So capturing methane is very important, and a lot of times we're not making full utilization and functionality of energy markets. So that's all for this. Methane is not good to have, especially for climate change and greenhouse gases. So let's be responsible and do our due share and not emit more methane. Thank you for listening.